The storm had rolled across the desert plains of New Earth for 3 days straight, carrying red sand that hissed against metal walls and buried anything left outside. Most people stayed locked inside their homes, but Ethan Hale was not most people. As a field mechanic for the frontier colony of Ridgetown, storms were when people needed him most. He sat inside his repair buggy, the engine humming softly as he scanned the cracked landscape through the windshield. Another sensor tower down, he muttered to himself, checking the coordinates on his wrist pad. If this storm keeps up, the whole grid will drop. He pushed the throttle, and the buggy crawled up a dune. But halfway to the tower, something strange happened. A tiny figure darted across the sand. Ethan blinked. Nobody, absolutely nobody, should have been outside in a storm like this. He braked hard, stepped out, and squinted against the blowing sand. His face cloth whipped in the wind. "Hello," he called. "Hey, kid. It's dangerous out here." The figure stumbled, fell to its knees, then slowly lifted its head. Big silver eyes stared at him. A thin, pale face. Small pointed ears. A trembling body wrapped in a glowing shawl. Not human. A child, but not human. Ethan froze. He had seen aliens before. Traders, travelers, diplomats. But never a child. And certainly never alone in a desert storm. The little one tried to stand but collapsed again. Okay, Ethan whispered, hands raised. "I'm not gonna hurt you." He rushed forward, kneeling beside the child. The body was warm, too warm, and shaking violently. The glowing shawl flickered, its light fading. "She's burning up." He didn't think twice. He scooped the child into his arms, feeling how small she was, and carried her to the buggy. When he closed the door, the silence inside felt like a blessing. The child looked up at him, frightened and exhausted. "It's all right," he said softly. "You're safe now." Her eyes fluttered, and she whispered something in a language he didn't understand. Then she went limp. Ethan swallowed hard. "Hang on, kid. I'll get you help." He turned the buggy around and sped toward Ridgetown. The child who fell from the sky. Dr. Marin had treated humans, hybrids, and even a few alien visitors before. But when Ethan burst into the clinic carrying the pale, delicate child, she nearly dropped her tablet. "What in the stars?" "I found her out in the storm," Ethan said. "She passed out." Dr. Marin scanned her quickly. "She's not human. Her physiology's different. Look at this, no lungs, only air sacs. Her blood is metallic. Her heart rate is too fast. But she's alive." Ethan asked. "Yes, but barely. She's dehydrated. Overheated. And her energy wrap is fading." "Energy wrap?" "That glowing cloth she's wearing. It keeps her temperature stable. Without it, her body can't survive this environment." Ethan looked at the shawl. Its glow was almost gone. "Can you fix it?" Marin sighed. "I'm a doctor, not an alien engineer. But I can try." They worked together, Ethan repairing the power threads inside the shawl, Marin cooling the child's body with special gel packs. Hours passed. Finally, her breathing steadied. The child slowly opened her silver eyes. She looked scared until she saw Ethan. Her small fingers reached toward him. She whispered again, voice soft like wind. "Eo, Ren." Marin raised an eyebrow. "She seems attached to you." "I just found her," Ethan said. The child gently touched his hand, then pressed her forehead to the back of his fingers in a gesture he didn't recognize. "That is a trust sign," Marin said. "Some alien species use it to show safety." Ethan swallowed. The child's touch stirred something warm inside him. He didn't know her name. He didn't know where she came from. But he knew he couldn't leave her alone. "You okay, kid?" he whispered. She nodded weakly. Then she said, in a tiny voice. Lyra. That's her name, Marin said. Ethan smiled. Lyra. That's beautiful. The child blinked slowly, comforted by his voice. But far above New Earth, something stirred in the stars. Something searching. Something dangerous. The sky breaks open. 3 nights later, the sky exploded. The entire colony shook as a massive ship broke through the clouds, a sleek, dark vessel shaped like a crescent moon. Lights streaked beneath it like rivers of fire. Alarms blared. People screamed. Ethan rushed outside, shielding his eyes from the brightness. Lyra clung to his leg, trembling, her silver eyes wide with fear. The ship hovered above Ridgetown like a silent giant. Colonel Vargas of the colony militia arrived immediately, shouting orders. Everyone inside. Defensive shields up. We don't know their intentions. But Lyra tugged Ethan's sleeve. Her voice shook. Mother. Ethan's breath caught. That ship is your mother's. Lyra nodded. The ship descended lower and lower, landing just outside the colony walls with a thunderous boom that sent sand swirling everywhere. A ramp extended. And the warrior mother stepped out. She was tall, taller than any human Ethan had ever seen. Her skin was silver blue, her armor glowing with swirling patterns. Her braided hair shone like metal threads. Her eyes were the same bright silver as Lyra's. But her expression was not gentle. It was the expression of someone ready to go to war. The colony guards raised their weapons. Ethan quickly lifted his hands. Stop. That's her mother. But the warrior mother didn't wait. She walked straight toward the colony, sand crunching under her boots. When she reached the gate, she spoke one single word. Where? Her voice shook the air. Vargas stepped forward. Identify yourself. The warrior mother extended her staff, and energy pulsed at its tip. I am Commander Cerilis of the Illyri Starfleet, she said. I seek my daughter. People gasped. Vargas lowered his weapon slightly. Your daughter. Cerilis scanned the area, until her gaze locked onto Ethan. And then she saw Lyra. The child peeked from behind Ethan, her small hand gripping his pants leg tightly. Cerilis froze. For a moment, everything was silent. Then she ran forward, faster than any human could, and knelt before Lyra. Her voice trembled. My light, you are alive. Lyra threw herself into her mother's arms, crying softly. Cerilis closed her eyes, relief shaking through her whole body. But then she stood. And her eyes turned cold again. She looked straight at Ethan. You. Human. Step forward. Ethan swallowed. Okay. She circled him slowly, her metal boots clicking on the ground. You found my daughter, she said. You touched her. You carried her. You entered her trust circle. I just didn't want her to die, Ethan said quietly. She needed help. Why? Cerilis asked, staring him down. Why would a human risk his life for a child not his own? For a species not his own? Ethan shrugged softly. Because she's just a kid. And kids should be safe. A strange expression crossed her face, something like surprise. But then her tone hardened again. You saved the heir of the Illyri fleet, she said. For that, I am bound to repay you. That's not necessary. Silence, she commanded. Vargas whispered, be careful. Cerilis raised her staff. It glowed bright. Everyone tensed. Was she about to punish him? Attack him? Name a price? But the light softened into a warm blue glow. She lowered the staff until it touched Ethan's shoulder. In our culture, she said, saving a child creates a life bond. It is a vow of protection and unity between families. A vow that cannot be broken. Ethan blinked. Wait, what does that mean? Cerilis stepped closer, her silver eyes steady. It means, she said slowly, that you are now under my protection. My army stands behind you. My clan honors you. And my daughter owes her life to you. The colony guards murmured in shock. Cyrillus looked down at Lyra, who was holding Ethan's hand. This human has earned our trust, Cyrillus said. He is no enemy. Ethan exhaled, relief washing through him. But Cyrillus wasn't done. She turned to Vargas. And now I must speak with your leaders. For your colony stands on land that hides truths your scanners cannot see. The mother's warning. Inside the colony hall, Cyrillus explained everything. Her ship had been searching the star systems for weeks. Lyra had wandered through a portal during a cosmic warp accident. She was never supposed to be on New Earth. And worse. Your planet, Cyrillus said, pointing to a hologram, is sitting above a dormant energy well. A dangerous one. If disturbed, it can destroy entire regions. Vargas paled. We had no idea. You were not meant to, Cyrillus replied. Ethan looked at the map. Is Ridgetown safe? Cyrillus shook her head. Not anymore. She walked to Ethan. My daughter told me what you did for her. She trusts you. And so do I. Ethan blinked. Thank you. I think. Cyrillus placed a warm hand over his heart. You saw a child, not a species. That is rare among warriors. There was softness in her eyes now. A respect deeper than words. She turned to Vargas. Your colony must be moved away from the well. My fleet will help. We will dig new foundations, build barriers, strengthen your borders. Why? Vargas asked. You owe us nothing. Cyrillus looked at Ethan. I owe him, she said simply. And what he protects, I protect. Ethan flushed. I didn't do it for reward. Cyrillus smiled gently, her first true smile. That is why the reward is yours. The new bond. Over the next weeks, Cyrillus's army helped the colonists rebuild a safer settlement farther from the danger zone. The Illyri engineers were brilliant, structures rose like metal flowers, glowing with energy. Ethan worked alongside them, fixing machinery and learning their tools. Lyra followed him everywhere, clutching his hand, showing him small alien gadgets and laughing in her musical voice. She recovered fast and grew stronger each day. One evening, as the sun set red over the dunes, Cyrillus approached Ethan. Ethan Hale, she said softly. He turned. Commander. She shook her head lightly. Cyrillus. After everything, you may call me Cyrillus. He nodded. She looked at the horizon. When I first came, I thought you had taken something from me. In truth, you returned something I feared lost forever. Ethan smiled. Lyra's a brave kid. Cyrillus looked at him with warmth that surprised even herself. She is brave because someone held her when she was alone. A silence passed. Then she said, We Illyri do not forget kindness. And I do not forget you. Ethan felt his chest tighten a little. Will you leave soon? He asked quietly. Yes, she said. But our bond remains. If ever you call for us, the sky will answer. He chuckled. That's quite a promise. It is our law, Cyrillus said. And my personal vow. Lyra crawled into Ethan's lap, hugging him. Ethan, stay with us, she said softly. Ethan stroked her hair. I can't leave my home. Cyrillus touched Lyra's shoulder. He has his own stars to protect. But then she turned back to Ethan. Still, this is not goodbye. It is the beginning of something new. He nodded. I'd like that. Ending. When the Illyri fleet finally rose into the sky, the whole colony watched in awe. Ethan stood with Lyra in his arms until Cyrillus stepped forward to take her. But before boarding, Cyrillus leaned close to Ethan and whispered, Human mechanic. Protector of my child. You will never stand alone again." Then she pressed her forehead gently to his, a gesture he finally understood. A sign of deep trust. A promise across the stars. The ships lifted, glowing like silver moons, and vanished into the sky. Ethan stood there long after they were gone. He didn't know when he would see Lyra or Cerealis again. But he knew one thing. He had changed their lives. And they had changed his. Far above, somewhere in the dark universe, an alien commander carried a memory of a human who saved her child. And a bond strong enough to bring an army to his side.